Namaskaram to all viewers of Jyotirmarg. Dear viewers, in our last rendering, we saw how the Pandavas set fire to the House of Lacquer with Purojana trapped inside and then escaped to the forest through a secret tunnel. Now let's continue. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayed harihi om. In the darkness of the night, Bhim stormed through the forest, carrying his mother and brothers on his body. Those trees which stood in his way broke down into pieces on hitting against his forehead, elbows, knees and legs. Meanwhile, the wise Vidura had posted his trusted men in the forest, anticipating the arrival of the Pandavas. Like how Vidura had thought that they will come to the banks of the Ganga river, Vidura's men met them there and showed them the boat that was waiting to take them across the river. It was a mechanized, high-speed boat with engines and flags. Then, one of those men from Vidura came forward and quoted a sentence from Vidura's advice to the Pandavas in Mlecha language. This was spoken by Vidura to Yudhishthira at the time of their departure from Hasthinapur, and it was like this. One should realize that the enemy who will use those things which can destroy the forest and the snow will not be able to destroy those who are inside the caves. One who realizes this will escape from the dangers caused by such enemies. That messenger then continued like this. With these credentials, you may now know me as a trusted agent of Vidura. And he has also asked me to tell you like this. O son of Kundi, one day you will defeat Duryodhan and all his brothers along with Karna and Shaguni. And for now, this boat will take you far away from this place and also across the sacred Ganga river. When they were about to enter that magnificent boat, the messenger said, Vidura embraces you and blesses you in his mind for your success and well-being. Vidura also said like this, commencing your auspicious journey alone in this world, you should always be careful, cautious and vigilant. Having spoken this much, the messenger finally uttered one word, which was Jayam, meaning success. Thereafter, carrying the Pandavas, that boat sped off through the waters of the Ganga river and then landed them at a faraway spot on the other side of the river. At the time of departure, the Pandavas gave a farewell message to be conveyed to Vidura. Meanwhile, at Varanavata, after the sunrise, all citizens who had assembled there when the fire had started in the night put off the fire and then started searching. And then they found the remains of Purojana at the place where he had his quarters, and also the remains of the Nishada woman and her 5 sons. They decided that the Pandavas and the wicked Purojana have been burned to death. They cursed Dhrutharashtra and Duryodhan and his brothers again and again for burning the Pandavas to death. Meanwhile, the miner who had made the tunnel for the Pandavas went around the ashes as if he were searching for the remains and covered the entrance to the tunnel in a way that it will never be found out by anyone. Finally, the citizens selected few people from among themselves and sent them to Hasthinapur to inform about the death of the Pandavas and Purojana in that fire. On hearing the news, Dhrutharashtra acted like he was deeply shocked and kept on weeping endlessly. Then he asked Vidura and other relatives to go to Varanavada and to collect the remains and make all arrangements for the after-death rites of Pandavas and Kundi. All members of the royalty and the citizens also mourned the death of Pandavas. Only Vidura knew the truth, because of which, in his mind, Vidura was only sad about the pathetic situation into which the Pandavas had fallen. Meanwhile, the Pandavas crossed the Ganga river and then, guided by the position of the stars and the dim starlight, travelled in the southern direction through a dense forest. They were very tired, thirsty and sleepy. Seeing the condition of his mother and brothers, Bhim, who was blessed with never-ending energy, once again started carrying them on his shoulders and arms. With the anger and the fire in his mind towards Duryodhan and the Kauravas, Bhim made the forest tremble by way of his speed and might. With his chest and elbows and legs, Bhim broke tall and large trees and paved a new way in the forest. When he moved forward with the speed of Garuda, the king of birds, his mother and brothers fainted off and on as they couldn't synchronize themselves with Bhim's speed. All through the next day, Bhim continued that journey in order to get as far as possible away from Duryodhan and Hasthinapur. By evening, they reached an area of forest which didn't have any fruit-bearing trees or indication of water in the nearby vicinity. The air was filled with the terrible cries of cruel birds and animals, as also with the whistling noise caused by strong winds. Moving forward further, Bhim saw a very huge banyan tree which had its branches spread all over that area, and it was comparatively calm and peaceful there. Bhim softly placed his mother and brothers under that tree. Then he told them that he can hear the sweet sounds made by water birds and swans. Asking them to wait for a while, Bhim then went in search of water and soon found a lake with cool and clear water. Bhim took a dip in that water and after drinking water and refreshing himself, washed and soaked his upper garments in that water. Then he returned fast to the spot where his mother and brothers were resting. By that time, because of their extreme fatigue and tiredness, Kundi and her sons had fallen into deep sleep lying on the ground under that banyan tree. Bhim, that great hero of unmatched physical size and strength, wept like a child, unable to control his tears on seeing his mother, who was the daughter of the great king Kundibhoja, sister of the great hero Vasudeva, daughter-in-law of the great king Vichitravirya, wife of Maharaja Pandu, mother who gave birth to 3 sons from Yama, Vayu and Indra, one who was surrounded by ever-waiting attendant maids, the one who used to sleep in the softest of beds made of the best of cotton and satin, the one who was destined to live as the queen mother of Aryavarta, now sleeping on the ground along with her children, devoid of all her royalty and luxuries. What can I do, thought Bhim. My elder brother Yudhishthira, who will not deviate from the path of dharma, is not yet angry with Duryodhan. Otherwise, I would have ended his life along with that of his brothers and Karna and Shaguni with these 2 hands of mine. Lost in thoughts like that, with tears rolling down from his eyes, Bhim sat there awake and alone in that forest, guarding his mother and brothers. Dear viewers, here ends this chapter of our rendering of Rishi Vedavyasa's timeless epic Mahabharata. Harihi Om.